Thank you for coming. I seen them they was at the park earlier, and I mentioned, hey, you guys come on by. So thank you. You guys came right on time. Now, my name is King Kevin Dorival. I am a mentor, author, and filmmaker from Fort Lauderdale. I actually just moved to Atlanta like 8 months ago, which is a dream come true. And so I'm thankful for the opportunity to be here, and it's just to be lived. Because life, I don't believe in taking for granted. I think every day is worth living and to be appreciated. So who's happy to be alive today? Yeah, it's a good day to be alive, right? Now Kwanzaa, the purpose of Kwanzaa is to remember our ancestors, for the price they paid and to honor them. So that's why Mr. Slayton did the libations in order to honor them, and also light the candle, which is Ujama, the first candle on the Kanaka. Is that how you say it? Kanaka, right. Now, my purpose here today is to talk about some of the kings and queens of the past. And who's in here is a queen or king? Where the queens at? Any queens in here? I can't hear.
All of us queens.
And where my kings at?
The little kings. The princes.
All right, brother. I see you back there. Now, I wrote 2 books, right? This is my first book, The Courage to Believe, which is an inspirational autobiography. And I wrote this because I felt as if it was needed to share my story. So it took Kuumba. Who knows what Kuumba means? Creativity. So I had to be creative on how I was writing my story and to make it attractive. And that's how I also came up with my second book, 7 Types of Queens, King's Desire, which actually took me to London last year on a book tour. Yeah, I was on a book tour for like 2 weeks in London. Actually, about a little over 2 weeks, which was a blessing, because I got a chance to see the world. I never even thought about going to London before, until someone read my book and they called me and it was like, hey, can we set up a book tour, would you come? I said, amen, I'll come.
Yes.
All right? And I also wrote a stage play called named after my first book. So I want to give this away. So I wonder who I'm going to give this away to. So the child who pays the most attention, and feel free to ask me a question, I will give this away, okay? But everything's on my website, kevindorival.com. And so let's begin. Now, in this book is a compare and contrast of ancient queens and women of today, right? So who can name someone, a queen in the past that you like or you honor or you want to emulate? Any queen. Hatshepsut? Okay. Well, why Hatshepsut?
See?
I can tell you why I like her.
But love her, see.
Yeah.
Well, because when she couldn't be Pharaoh, she pretended to. She wanted. Is that the right one?
That's correct.
Okay. She wanted to be a Pharaoh, and so she dressed up as a man and ruled her kingdom.
As a pharaoh, exactly.
As a Pharaoh. She became a Pharaoh. Because she was a woman, she couldn't be, so she decided to be one.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, there were several pharaohs that were actually women, but we never taught those things.
It's true.
And so as I started writing this book and doing research, I was like, wow, how can I be creative using the principle of Kuumba and make the book attractive so people want to buy it and pay attention to it? And so I talk about her and also Queen Tai and Queen Aset. Now, when you hear about the color black, what do you think? You think about something negative, something bad. That's how society makes us think about, the color black. But in actuality, black means power. Black is beautiful. Who can agree with me on that?
Yes.
Black is very beautiful. Aren't you beautiful?
Yes. Black has a rainbow of colors.
Every
Rainbow of colors.
The rainbow is colors?
A rainbow of colors. Black has a rainbow of colors.
Black is in everything.
Exactly.
Black is in everything.
Exactly.
Right. And also Queen Aset, who actually performed the first recorded resurrection. Now, when you think about resurrection, what do you think about?
Jesus.
You think about Jesus. But in actuality, and it's written on the pyramid walls, or engraved in the pyramid walls, Queen Aset, she actually woke her husband up from the dead to bring him back to life. As a matter of fact, the story of Heru is where the story of Jesus comes from. So you have very important and powerful women that women of today don't know about. And so when you watch on social media, you see women, young girls, showing their bodies and doing all kinds of things they shouldn't be doing online or even in public. but they're doing those things because they really don't know who they are or how important they are. And so that's why I wrote this book, and as a matter of fact, everything starts with women anyway.
Right.
Only women can give birth.
Right.
Any girls, women in here agree with me on that?
Oh, yes.
You can give it, that's how vital you are. As a matter of fact, it was a sacrilege, it was sacrilege to disrespect a woman, and it was punishable by death
Yes.
back in the day. You know, so
It should still be that way.
it should be,
And I
right.
still teach and talk to people to educate them on the
Yeah, all our
importance
young
of
men
being
would be dead,
respectful.
you know, that's
Women
not
and men are respectful to your elders every time.
You have to
know,
be. But see, that's not how,
spirit I have.
and that's not how we're being raised today. You know what I'm saying? Because most kids are being raised by single mothers, unfortunately, and women are taking on too many roles. You know, you have to be the mother and the father and
Well, I kind of disagree
counselor.
with that to a point,
Yeah.
because I speak from my family and myself. My family, I know, was raised that way, and I know I've been involved in a lot of other friends and families' lives. Well, I know they were raised this way.
Okay.
They get to a certain age where they think that they're considered grown because of age and or maybe having so many children. And I have a niece in particular, I can say, she knows better. She chooses to be disobedient. So then we bump heads and I still win, regardless of the situation.
No
Because
doubt.
she always comes back to me. Auntie Dinka should listen to you. I said, okay, you know, I will not have a tongue wrestling match with you. I will not have to beat you down. You know this. So every time you are disrespectful to me or anyone who's an elder of yours, when you know better,
Right.
disrespect comes on you. So I disagree with that to a certain degree because I
Well,
have
definitely.
experience knowing that.
If you're
elder.
disrespecting
So,
some elder, you're disrespecting yourself.
You know.
But we're going to save all the
yeah,
comments
you
for
go
later.
ahead. But yeah,
But definitely, raise your hand if you have
but
a
I say that
question.
because of I know that's a little different from my point of view.
Okay. No worries, no worries. It's all love, right?
Yes.
Celebrating Kwanzaa.
Yes.
Yes.
So you just said that women have to take on roles to do this and do that. So it's
I'm
like,
saying, I said that they're taking on too many roles.
so it's like just common sense, or just, you know, people should go, oh, women can do everything. So we are really, you know, the main person or the most important person, because we can just do everything. And that should
Yeah.
really just be common sense to people that we are queens. The
And
best
God,
thing ever.
right. I agree with you on that. But it's not really meant, you know, it's better to have a cooperative effort, you know, to be in a home where there's a mother and father in the home. And so that's what I'm reaching for, to actually help improve our relationships, you know, to having that unity, that love for one another and respect. Because a lot of these young ones, it's not their fault because of the way they was raised, but the respect isn't there like it used to be, like it needs to be. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with that.
You agree with me? Can I get an amen?
Yeah, we still teach. We still teach though.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. Now, I also want to point out another queen on here, Mrs. Michelle Obama, right? She actually wrote me a letter last year thanking me for including her in my book because I mailed her a letter while she was in the White House. And so months later, she wrote me a letter. And so I was very caught off guard by that. I wasn't expecting that, you know, because, you know, she's very busy. But then again, you know, even though that you're busy, you're still human.
That's
Right.
So you wrote a letter to ask her if you could include her in your book?
No, I didn't do that.
Oh.
I used Kujichagulia, self-determination, and told her what I was doing.
Okay.
So what I did was, to be more concrete, I took a picture. The book wasn't out at the time.
Yes.
So what I did was I took a picture of the cover,
Yes.
printed it, and wrote a letter, included the picture of it, and said, this is what I'm working on. And I just want to let you know that you're included, you and your family, and that you are an inspiration. You and your husband, Barack Obama, President Barack Obama,
Yes.
are an inspiration to me and many other men and women from my community.
Okay.
So that's why she wrote me a letter saying
Okay, good, okay.
right. So hopefully, when she comes in Atlanta, so anybody you know, Michelle Obama, if you know her, let her know that I'm in Atlanta. All right.
Well, I got a letter from them too, and you know, they did write a lot of people down. You know.
Yeah, they do. They're very powerful like that. Right. And also, I want to mention a couple other names. We mentioned Queen Nzinga, who was a warrior queen. Right. Queen Nzinga actually fought the Portuguese for 30 years. I never heard about Queen Nzinga until I actually started writing this book, Seven Types of Queens. And she fought for 30 years against slavery. As a matter of fact, she fought them to her dying days. And she was actually queen of two countries. Angola, which is Angola today, and I believe it's Matamba, if I'm pronouncing that correct. I am? All right, amen. Also, How about some kings? Even though there's only one other king in the building, I see you, brother. Keep in there, you know. Mention some kings. You got Shaka Zulu. He was the king of the Zulu nation. Very powerful, and actually many militaries and armies still today still practice some of his principles that he created back when he was the king of the Zulu nation.
The Zulus were the only nation to beat the British. They were the only one that was successful
And beating the British.
in beating the British Army.
Right, but ultimately the British came back
Oh, yeah.
and you know, came in with full force and defeated
They
us.
had weapons, though.
But he had Kujichagulia, you know, he's a very, very strong person and warrior. So we need to understand the importance of history is not just to repeat what happened in the past, but also to take on the lessons of our ancestors and what made them successful so we can apply it in our lives today for our community and also for the future. Can I get an amen on that as well? All right. Another king I would like to mention, we talked about Haiti earlier, and rest in peace to your ancestor who passed away many years ago, obviously. In the Haitian Revolution, we have Toussaint Louverture. Now, I'm Haitian. I wasn't born in Haiti. I was born in Florida, Fort Lauderdale. My parents are both from Haiti. My dad's from Port-au-Prince. My mom from a city called Cap Haitian. And I visited Haiti back in 2016. And let me tell you something. When I went to Haiti, it was one of the greatest experiences I ever had. I actually, the first time in my life, and I've traveled, I mentioned London earlier. I've been to Jamaica, I've been to the DR, I've been throughout the United States. But when I went to Haiti, it was the first time I actually felt free. I never had that feeling before, you know.
Been appreciative of where you live.
Right, I mean,
Yes.
definitely. But
But our people, it's being part of our people.
exactly.
The whole place is our people.
The whole world.
It's
But
really
it's actually, and it's actually the culture you talked about, from what you experienced there and what you experienced here in the States. So
Yeah,
I understand
I mean, being on an island, you know, it's an island life. You know, I've been to also Bahamas. You know, Bahamas, DR, and Haiti. They all have the same kind of vibe, that island vibe. You know, but when you watch the media makes you think of Haiti as the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. But guess what?
the rich.
Haiti is the richest country in the Western Hemisphere. You know, rich with gold, oil. You know, they just found like $30 billion, over $30 billion worth of oil and gold and different minerals on the island, but you'll never hear about that. You know, because why is that? It's because they have to project us. They have to project us as being poor, and throughout in Africa as well. They have to project that so that when the different entities come in, foreign powers, governments come in, get it cheap. But when they have white, European, or whatever country they're from involvement, okay, they came to save us. When they're coming there to export the country.
Exactly.
So I'm saying this for the children to understand. Don't just go by what you see on the media, what you see on television. You know, find out for yourself. Amen. Get a book.
Exactly.
That's what libraries are for, right?
Internet.
There's books. You can read about it. You know what I'm saying? So it can inspire you to know that you are beautiful.
Yes.
To know that you are someone that can be great. Yes. No, not can be great. You are great. You just have to tap into that.
Yes.
Especially you, princess. Yes.
Yes, in all of your studies and everything, did you go to different, I don't want to say websites, but different sources to combine them all in your book? Is the information you've given us about the kings and queens, is that included in your book?
Oh, yes. I actually have what you would call a bibliography. The bibliography page which has all the, you know, you citing all your resources. And I'm glad you mentioned that. When I was writing this book, there was, I had an editor, and quick side story, I don't know how much time I have.
I bet you won't. We're here.
The first editor, you know, she was, you know, devout Christian, and I was raised Christian. You know, I don't go by Christian anymore. I call myself a born-again African. I didn't know born-again African being a spiritualist. I'm more into the spiritual matter of things and showing love and giving love. So when I mentioned some of the things, like I mentioned, like the first resurrection, you know, she didn't like that at all. So we kind of had arguments. But I'm like, I'm paying you to edit my book. Now I did the research. I cited the research, the books I read. I have like 500 books in my home. No one believes me to actually come to my home. I did have about 500 books. 60% are on African culture, and so I did cite the places that I got information from. But you know, she still was like very combative, And I was like, you know what? This is not going to work. Because obviously you don't have the right kind of spirit. Because I'm not trying to convince anyone not to believe in what you believe in, you know, because, you know,
telling the truth.
historical facts. Exactly, that's all I'm saying. And I put it in a way so that people can receive it. And because not everything you're going to learn is going to be in just one book. You know what I mean? There's other books out there. Obviously, I have 2 in my hand. The library has what? Thousands of books. I mean, there's a lot of references out there, you know. So yes, I definitely do. And mentioning about the Haitian Revolution, and the first chapter of this book, The Courage to Believe, my mom helped me write it before she passed away. Right, and she passed away back in 2008. Her birthday was 12/12/55, so her birthday just passed. But so every time I talk about the book, especially look at the first chapter, which is called The Royal Bloodline, where I talk about my family history and our connection to West Africa, the Dahomey, which is today Benin. And that part of Africa was one of the strongest, most powerful kingdoms of West Africa. They had the dynasty for about 11 dynasties, I'm sorry. They had 11 dynasties, and they were a warrior kingdom. So when the French kidnapped our people, brought them to the islands, they didn't really understand what type of people they had kidnapped. They kidnapped a bunch of warriors, so it was just a matter of time before they gone. And guess what happened? It was the first independent black nation in the Western Hemisphere. And the first and only successful slave rebellion that became its own state. So that's why Haiti is being punched the way it is, because we ashamed the United States and other world superpowers like France. You know, so a little bit of history for yourself. And who else I'd like to talk about today? There's so many, you know, I can go on and on and on. Yeah, Thomas Sankara, who was the president of Bukano Safu, which means, he changed the name actually. The French colonized this country, Bukano Safu. It means the upright man, right? And so he changed the name to that, and the French ended up killing him, getting him assassinated because what he did for the country. He was able to turn the country around, get him out of debt. You know, they created their own jewelry, just like we did today. You know, created their own clothes, you know, and everything. You know, and he even suspended a lot of the government officials' budgets to save the country money. That's the type of things we need to do to be self-determined. Kujichagulia. We need that. And you got to have faith as well. You know, faith, purpose. Purpose was his Nia. Faith is Imani. Excuse me?
Oh, I was saying.
No, go ahead. What are you saying?
No, I was saying with you.
Imani, you like that? Right. We need that. You know, faith is. I can't live with. You know, you can't live without faith. I would have never accomplished half the things I've done if I didn't have faith. You know. And just believing in God and believing in my God-given abilities to be able to change things around in my community. And we all have that responsibility to support and love one another. With that being said, I also have a short film coming out in February, named after my second book, 7 Toxic Queens, King Desire. It's a romantic comedy. You get more information about that on my website, KevinDorival.com. And what we hope to do is to raise the funds. We have a GoFundMe going on now to raise the funds to turn into a full feature film. So we already shot the film here in Atlanta. And so when we do the full feature film, the budget's going to be like maybe $5 million. But we use the short film to get investors and sponsors to see not what we're trying to do, but what we are already doing. So it takes a lot of determination, faith, and persistence. And I want you guys to repeat something after me, and which has helped me tremendously over the years. It's called SBE. All right. So you're going to say, speak it.
Speak it.
Let me start again. Speak it.
Speak it.
So now what are you going to read?
What you going to speak?
Yeah, when I say speak it, what am I talking about?
Speak it to existence.
Speak it to existence. Speak your Boji to existence. All right. And believe it. Say, believe it.
Believe it.
Now what are you going to believe?
Believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself and what you're speaking. Even though you may not have the resources, you may not have the money, you may not have the car, you may not have the knowledge or the background for what you believe in, but if you actually begin speaking those things, you're going to really start believing and seeing those things manifest. The universe is going to, there's something called the law of attraction, but also reciprocity, right? You know, what you speak out there is going to come back to you. Now, execute the plan. What plan am I talking about?
What you say, SB, what is it?
SBE. Execute the plan. What plan am I talking about?
But the plan to make it happen, when we force you.
Whatever you write down. So say execute the plan.
Oh, execute the plan.
Can I hear you guys say it?
Execute the plan.
Let's start over. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. We'll start from the top. Speak it.
Speak it.
Believe it.
Believe it.
Execute the plan.
Execute the plan.
Amen. Now make sure that when you can do it right now, that there's ladies make these beautiful hand baskets, well, paper bags, with the principles on them. You can write on them. Write down your goals. These 2 to 3 goals that you want to accomplish in life. These 2 or 3, okay? You don't have a pen, actually write with pen and paper. Write them down so that you can actually have something to repeat to yourself, all right? Thank you for your time and energy, and it's been a blessing.
All right, thank you. Awesome. Inspirational. And so the information about the Haiti and the Queens and all that's in that Queen book, or?
Dealing with Haiti was in the first chapter of my book called Royal Bloodline.
Okay.
My family roots and little history. But with about the Queens, that's in this one.
Now, how much is that book?
This one?
Yes.
This one is $16 paperback, $9 ebook. You can download it right now on your phone. As a matter of fact, since you guys are here, in the spirit of giving in our ancestors, I will give out the ebook for free to everyone in here. If you go to my website and email me and put in the subject Kwanzaa, and you want this book, go to my website and I will email it to you. You can download it on your phone for free. But these are usually $10. You actually download it on iTunes as well.
I'm paper. I'm strict.
It's fine. And I also have hardcover. Hardcover is $28. Hardcover is in color and it has 2 extra chapters.
And how much is your other book?
This one is $12.
12.
Right.
Okay.
So I have a couple
buy
copies.
2 today. It's
I'll hook you up.
Okay.
I'll hook you up. Don't worry about that.
Could you give us your website again?
Yes, my website is, my main one is KevinDorival.com. That's KEVDOR. KEVIN. Did I say it?
No, you say KEV.
KEVIN. D as in David, ORIVAL.com. And I actually have 3 websites, but the other one, which is 7queens7kings.com. I didn't even mention
Like
it.
the number.
The number 7.
Number 7
or the word 7?
The number 7.
Number 7.
7 Queens, the S, 7kings.com. But just go to KevinDorival.com, has everything.
Start all over. I told you he
7 Queens,
7 Queens.
7 Kings.
Oh, my God.
And it's number 7 for
Yeah.
Kings too.
And I'm going to give one of these.
.com.
.com, correct. And we're getting ready on February 16th, and I didn't even mention this. On February 16th, I'm the president of a nonprofit organization called Courage to Believe International, which I named after my first book. So what we're doing is on February 16th, 2019, here in Atlanta, at Atlanta University, at the Franklin Auditorium, we're going to be hosting the annual Community Crime Solutions Panel. It'll be our 5th annual Crime Solutions Panel. All the information is on my website, KevinDorival.com. Yes.
Are you going to be at the shrine?
For the Black Madonna?
Just one.
Actually, they have my books in there.
I was going to ask you,
Oh,
where is
great.
your books? Madhu?
Okay.
I think it's Madhu that's out
I heard of them, but I haven't.
Okay, there's some of them.
So we're gonna do your survey and let me get the people to, everybody sign in.
Carrie, anything?
Not there.
Shrine,
The Shrine of Black
Let me get
Madonna.
your survey, let me get some
That's
people
church
to do the survey.
Really? I had to talk to them because we look at the
We have the Kwanzaa celebration.
there. I'm gonna go there to visit there. But as you notice on the front cover, you can't see it, but there's an off symbol in front of the book. Represent our ancestors and let people know what time it is. All right.
Is it in Greenbrier?
Is it in Greenbrier?
No.
and that's what I was asking about.
No, but you can get it from my website and I will mail it to you. Okay. Do not get my book on Amazon. Okay. It's on Amazon.
That's why we was
But
asking,
it's too
because
much?
Madhu is an Afrocentric bookstore that's in Greenbrier.
Yeah.
So I
Greenbrier
need
is
a-
part of an Afrocentric neighborhood.
Okay. So I need to
There's
check
one
them
at
out.
West End, but I can't think, I mean, not West End, there's one at Southlake, I can't think of the name of their Afrocentric. Nubian, that's it. Nubian
I think I
is
visited
across the
there.
street, Nubian is across the street in the plaza. They used to be in the, South Lake. They moved across the street to the plaza.
Well, you know I'm not from Atlanta, so everything is new to me. And if you love the
Those are the
hall,
only two that I know of. Used to be one in the mall, West End, down the street from the shrine.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. And who can I give the DVD to? Which one of these beautiful kids I can give the DVD to? What's this? Is your children, man? Queen? Is your children?
Oh, no, this is my nieces.
Nieces? Well, let me give it to you, and maybe you guys can watch it. Thank you. Thanks for you produced back when I read my first book. And thank you all for your time. I do appreciate it. Being heard. Thank you. Welcome.
About the surveys.